In our fast-paced digital world, the cybersecurity landscape, well, it feels like it's constantly shifting, doesn't it? Sometimes at just an overwhelming speed.
It really does.
New threats pop up, new buzzwords. It really makes you wonder, how do organizations actually stay ahead of the curve? How do they avoid just drowning in all this information?
That's a huge challenge, yeah. And it's exactly why having structured frameworks and really clear approaches isn't just, helpful. It's absolutely essential.
Couldn't agree more. And that's basically our mission for this deep dive today. We want to give you a shortcut, sort of, to becoming genuinely well-informed on two really foundational frameworks, essential for building robust security: OTRE 8TTNCK and ISO 27001.
Right. And these aren't just acronyms to throw around. They're powerful and, interestingly, quite complementary approaches that are, well, really changing how organizations defend themselves.
Exactly.
So our deep dive today, it's based on this fantastic guide we found that explores these exact frameworks. And it also shows how a company, Delinea, actually leverages them in practice.
Yeah, we've gone through all that material to pull out the most important bits, the real nuggets of knowledge and insight, specifically for you listening. So maybe you're gearing up for a big meeting, or you're just trying to quickly get up to speed on this field because it moves so fast. Or maybe you're just, insanely curious about how companies are tackling modern cyber threats. Well, this deep dive should really arm you with the essential knowledge. We'll unpack why these frameworks are so vital, how they actually work together, and even look at how practical tools bring it all to life. Let's get into it.
Let's do it.
Okay, so let's kick off with Mitre, ATT&ck. A lot of people in cybersecurity, they hear this name bounced around. But what exactly is it? And what about these TTPs, tactics, techniques, and procedures that seem so central?
Right. Okay. So think of Mitre, ATT&ck as this constantly updated, globally accessible playbook. But it's a playbook of real-world adversary behaviors. It's a knowledge base that catalogs the actual tactics, techniques, and procedures, the TTPs, that attackers are really using out there. This isn't theoretical stuff. It's built from watching real cyber attacks unfold.
Ah, based on observation.
Exactly. Its main purpose is to help organizations understand how threats operate, right?
Yeah.
So they can then build specific plans to counter those exact threats and create, well, strong, resilient defenses.
That sounds incredibly useful, but also potentially kind of overwhelming, just given the sheer scale of modern threats we see. What are the sort of ingredients of this framework? I gather it's pretty comprehensive.
Oh, it truly is. Imagine having this incredibly detailed map of how cyber attacks work. It breaks down what an adversary is trying to achieve. Those are the tactics. Things like, getting initial access or maybe escalating their privileges.
Right, the goals.
Exactly, the goals. Then for each tactic, it details the specific ways they might achieve it. Those are the techniques.
Yeah.
And it even drills down further into sub-techniques for, super fine detail. And beyond that, it documents the specific software and tools attackers use, malware strains. It even profiles known threat actor groups, like state-sponsored ones or cybercriminals, and details their documented real-world campaigns. It's pretty much an adversary encyclopedia.
Okay, wow. So if you're a security team then, how does all that intelligence, that massive amount of data, how does it translate into practical security measures? It sounds like it helps you shift from just reacting to actually anticipating, maybe.
Precisely. That's the key shift. It moves your mindset from being purely reactive, cleaning up after an attack, to proactively understanding and anticipating threats.
Yeah.
By organizing all these TTPs, Mitre 8 ATT&ck helps organizations systematically analyze their own attack surface, figure out where they're vulnerable, prioritize those vulnerabilities, and then strengthen their defenses accordingly. It's almost like playing chess, but you've got an open book on your opponent's likely strategy.
Nice analogy.
Yeah, so this makes it invaluable for things like threat intelligence gathering, for red teaming exercises, where you basically simulate attacks to test your defenses, and for significantly improving your incident response, because you know what footprints to look for.
Okay, so Mitre, ATT&ck gets us that really detailed attacker's playbook. Very tactical. But, knowing the enemy is only half the battle, right?
Sure.
How do organizations systematically build up their own strong defenses, establish that solid security foundation? That sounds like where ISO 27001 comes in. Now, when I first heard about it, I thought, okay, tech standards, compliance checkboxes.
Common assumption.
Right. But you're saying it's actually more about building an entire management system around security. That sounds different, more holistic.
You've absolutely hit on a critical distinction there,
Yeah.
yes. ISO 27001 is this internationally recognized standard specifically for managing information security. It was developed jointly by ISO, the International Organization for Standardization, and the IEC, the International Electrotechnical Commission. And it's really not just about installing firewalls or antivirus, though that's part of it. It's about providing a structured, systematic approach to managing all your sensitive company data. And the key focus is on maintaining its confidentiality, integrity, and availability, the classic CIA triad.
Right.
And this whole holistic system, that's what's called an Information Security Management System, or ISMS.
ISMS, okay. So it's like building a robust security program from the ground up structurally. What are the actual core components of that ISMS under ISO 27001? What does it involve?
Exactly. It's pretty broad, covering the whole governance aspect. So core components. Well, first off, you need clear security policies. These are your high-level guidelines, the standards for protecting data and privacy.
Got it. The rules.
Yep. Then there's access control. Super fundamental, defining who gets to access what data and systems.
Makes sense.
Critically, you have risk assessment and treatment. This is huge.
Yeah.
You have to identify potential security risks, analyze them, and then decide how you're going to address them. Mitigate, accept, transfer.
The whole risk management piece.
Exactly. Then asset management, knowing what information assets you have, classifying them, and handling them properly. And finally, compliance obligations. This ensures you're sticking to all the relevant legal requirements, regulations, contractual stuff. It's a really complete framework for ongoing security governance.
It sounds like a pretty rigorous journey to actually implement all of that. Can you maybe walk us through the typical phases an organization goes through if they want to implement ISO 27001?
Absolutely. It is a journey, but it's structured. Think of it maybe like building a house with proper blueprints. There are generally 5 key phases.
Okay.
It starts with scope and policy development, phase 1. Here you define exactly what parts of your organization the ISMS will cover, and you lay out those foundational security policies we just talked about.
Define the boundaries.
Precisely. Next, phase 2 is risk assessment and management. This is where you do that deep dive into identifying potential threats and vulnerabilities, analyze the risks, and decide on your risk treatment plan, like mapping out potential hazards. The third phase is implementation and documentation. This is where you actually put the controls, the technical ones, the procedural ones into place. And crucially, you document everything clearly. Policies, procedures, responsibilities.
Doing and the writing down?
Right. After it's implemented, you move to phase 4, performance evaluation. This involves regular reviews, internal audits, monitoring metrics to make sure the ISMS is actually working effectively and meeting its objectives.
Checking if it works.
Yep. And finally, phase 5, which is ongoing, continuous improvement. Security threats evolve constantly, regulations change, your business changes. So your ISMS can't be static. It has to be a continuous cycle of review, update, and improvement.
Okay, that makes sense. It's a living system, not a one-off project.
Exactly.
So we've looked at them individually now, Mitre, Att&ck, and ISO 27001, and they both sound really powerful on their own. But the source material, and you've mentioned it too, really emphasizes that they are complementary. How do they actually fit together, and why is that combination so potent for an organization?
Yeah, they really are complementary. They serve different but definitely interlocking functions. It's actually a really neat fit. Think of it like this. ISO 27001 gives you the strategic blueprint, right? The overall structure and the rules of the road for your entire security program.
Okay.
It's like building a robust, compliant castle. It dictates your overarching policies, your processes, your risk management approach, your governance structure.
The big picture strategy.
Totally. Then Mitre, Att&ck comes in and provides the detailed enemy intelligence. It's like having diagrams of the specific siege engines the attackers are likely to use against your castle, and pinpointing the specific weak points in your walls they're known to target.
Ah, okay. So one is the structure and rules of your defense, your castle walls, and the other is understanding the actual tactics and tools the attacking forces are using. That's a really clear distinction.
Precisely. So Mitre, Att&ck informs your tactical defenses. It helps you understand and specifically defend against those real-world adversarial TTPs. You use it to tune your detection rules, guide your threat hunting, inform your red teaming. Got it. ISO 27001, on the other hand, ensures you have that comprehensive management system in place. It covers everything from risk management philosophy down to policy development and ensuring you meet compliance needs.
So different applications, too.
Yeah, in practice, you'd use Mitre, Att&ck, and CK heavily in your Security Operations Center, SOC, for threat intelligence analysis, for planning those red team exercises, and for refining your incident response playbooks. You pursue ISO 27001 certification, often to demonstrate regulatory compliance, build customer trust, and show a serious commitment to secure data management overall.
Okay.
But when you combine them, that's where the magic happens, like you said. You're not just building strong defenses, ISO 27001. You're building smart defenses that are actively reinforced against known specific threats. IOTA Teeny 7000 or Stanley. You get both that deep tactical understanding of the threat vectors and the strategic management system to ensure your overall security posture is solid and continuously improving.
That makes a lot of sense. You get the what and the how covered strategically and the who and how tactically. Okay, so we've covered the strategic roadmap with ISO, the tactical threat intelligence with IDRE. But, how do organizations actually put these principles into practice day to day? It's one thing to have the frameworks, another to execute. Our source highlights companies like Delinea, and their solutions seem to offer a practical bridge, maybe from this theory to execution. How do tools like theirs integrate with and maybe enhance the power of these frameworks?
Yeah, that's a great question because operationalizing this is key. Delinea solutions, based on the material, are really designed to enhance identity security, particularly in complex environments like the cloud. They focus on securing cloud identities and managing entitlements, who has access to what, really efficiently.
Identity and access, crucial areas.
Absolutely. They help put into practice the principles we've been discussing, especially around things like access control, which is core to ISO 27001, and understanding potential threat behaviors, which ties back into Mitre, ATT, and CK.
Okay, let's zoom in a bit then. The source mentions specific solutions. Can you tell us about their privilege control for cloud entitlements, or PCCE? What does that do?
Sure. PCCE is specifically designed to enforce a really crucial security principle, least privilege, especially across multi-cloud environments, which can get incredibly complex.
Least privilege, meaning only the minimum necessary access, right?
Exactly that. The idea is every user, every application, every system only gets the absolute minimum set of permissions required to perform its specific job, nothing more. If you only need the key to the front door, you don't get the master key to the entire building.
Makes sense. Less risk if something's compromised.
Precisely. So PCCE helps organizations achieve this. First, it has features for continuous discovery. It automatically identifies all the entitlements across your cloud platforms, giving you that essential visibility, because you can't secure what you can't see.
Right. Visibility first.
Then it performs risk identification. It actively looks for things like overprivileged identities accounts with way more access than they need, and potentially risky misconfigurations, like maybe service accounts that don't have multi-factor authentication enabled. These are often overlooked backdoors for attackers.
Ah, finding the hidden risks.
And then critically, it helps enforce least privilege by providing tools to right-size those entitlements, stripping away excessive permissions. And it does this from a unified administration platform, making it easier to manage across different clouds.
Okay, that sounds pretty comprehensive for managing cloud access rights. What about their other solution mentioned, Cloud Identity Discovery, or CID? How does that fit in?
So CID kind of extends the capabilities, particularly from Delinea's Secret Server Cloud product. It aims to discover a much wider range of cloud identities, not just the obvious highly privileged admin accounts, but also things like service accounts, other kinds of admins, and even those tricky shadow admins accounts that might have powerful permissions but aren't formally designated or tracked as admins.
Shadow IT, but for identities?
Kind of, yeah. Its strength lies in automated monitoring. It continuously scans your cloud environments looking for these potentially sensitive accounts so you can identify and manage them promptly. It then integrates with Secret Server so you can securely store and manage the credentials for discovered accounts. And importantly, it allows for customizable definitions, meaning you can tailor what the tool considers an admin or privileged account based on your organization's specific policies and risk appetite. It gives you a much more complete picture of who or what has potentially risky access.
Okay, so these tools help manage access and discover identities.
Yeah.
But you mentioned earlier, it's not just about setting policies or knowing threats, it's about having real actionable insights. How do these solutions provide that? The source mentioned compliance scores.
Yes, the delineate checks.
Yeah.
That's a key part of translating the data into actionable insights. Within both PCCE and CID, Delineate provides this catalog of health checks, essentially. They call them delineate checks.
Right.
These checks focus specifically on preventative security measures, things aligned with best practices, and crucially, mapping back to compliance requirements and known threat vectors. And the output isn't just a list of findings. They deliver insights often summarized as a clear compliance score.
Ah, so that's where the scores come in, like a health score for your identity security.
Pretty much, yeah. And this score isn't just a vanity metric. It actively highlights where your gaps are. It helps you proactively identify vulnerabilities related to identity and access in your cloud environments and guides you on where to focus your efforts to address potential risks. It makes the status tangible.
Okay, right. So we've got the strategic framework from ISO, the tactical intelligence from Mitre, and now these tools like Delinea's PCCE and CID to operationalize identity security, enforce least privilege, and measure progress with these compliance scores. So putting it all together, what's the ultimate outcome here? What does this combined approach really achieve for an organization?
Well, in essence, by weaving together the Mitre, Att&ck framework for threat understanding, the ISO 27001 framework for management structure, and then operationalizing key parts with solutions like Delinea's PCCE and CID, especially with those delineate checks, providing scores, and organizations really establish a much more robust, multifaceted cybersecurity approach. It becomes layered and intelligent. Each element brings its unique strength, as we've discussed. Att&ck give you those crucial tactical insights into how adversaries actually behave, helping you defend against specific real-world attack techniques.
Right, the attacker view.
ISO 27001 provides that essential strategic framework, the governance, the processes, the holistic management of information security.
Senator structure.
Exactly. And then Delinea's solutions, PCCE and CID, they strengthen that critical pillar of identity and privilege management. They do this by continuously assessing cloud entitlements and identities, actively reducing the risk that comes from overprivileged access, and helping consistently enforce those least privileged principles in complex environments.
Bringing it down to the access level.
Precisely. And those delineate checks, the scores, they provide that actionable feedback loop, highlighting gaps and guiding both preventative actions and remediation efforts.
So the big takeaway then seems to be the immediate practical value of those compliance scores. How do they specifically enable that continuous improvement piece we talked about with ISO, rather than just being a snapshot in time?
Yeah, that's really where they shine. They act as a kind of game changer for continuous improvement, because this whole integrated approach frameworks plus tools plus checks provides near real-time data. You get ongoing visibility into your compliance status against certain controls, your current risk posture related to identity, and your overall security health in that area.
So it's dynamic.
It's dynamic. The resulting compliance scores become this valuable, tangible metric. They don't just show you where you stand today. They track progress over time. They enable continuous improvements because you can see the impact of your actions. It helps reinforce the organization's resilience against those constantly evolving threats we started with. It really helps turn security strategy into a living, breathing, measurable process.
A living strategy. I like that. And there you have it. Wow, quite the deep dive today.
It covered a lot of ground.
Yeah, from really understanding that tactical view of either Att&ck, the attacker's perspective, and then the strategic management system of ISO 27001, all the way to seeing how practical tools like Delinea's PCCE and CID can actually bring these high-level principles down to earth, making them actionable and providing those tangible compliance scores for real ongoing improvement. It really underscores that shift towards being proactive and continuously refining defenses.
Absolutely. It really is the difference between just, hoping for the best and actively engineering a resilient, measurable security posture.
Couldn't have said it better. Indeed. So just a final thought for you, our listener, as you reflect on what we've discussed today, especially considering that focus on least privilege and continuous monitoring that came up so much. How might thinking like a cybersecurity professional, even just at a basic level, change how you manage your own digital footprint? Or maybe even something as simple as the permissions you grant the apps on your phone?
Good question.
Definitely something to consider. Until our next deep dive,